Testing. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday morning to you. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning on, this went wrong again. Let me read that stream. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning on East Coast, and it is here 6 o'clock in the morning Mountain Time. Happy Resurrection Sunday to those celebrating Easter, what others some call Easter. And this is what a great day today. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, my nose is starting to run again. I love this chapter that we're about to get into today. We're talking about the 10 power stories to impact any leader, journal your way to leadership success. And the question that we have for today is vision. It's about the vision and how vision eradicates fear, how vision eradicates fear. It is chapter number 5 in the book 10 Power Stories to Impact Any Leader. Journal your way to leadership success. This is an exciting chapter for me because it takes me back to when I was a soldier in the United States Army. What an interesting time in my life. It was just absolutely amazing, going to Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and the whole sequence and process that led up to it. It wasn't that I was just like ready to charge into being a combat veteran. Who wants to go to combat, really? It was about the lessons that I was learning during this time. So I'm going to jump right into it. If you haven't gotten the book, just go out to johnregister.com and you can go get the book, just 10 Powers to Impacting a Leader. And you can book me there. But I was trying to, here we go. This is the one I want to get. Journal your way to this author's perspective today. That's what we're talking about. All right. So let's just dive into it. And I'm going to try to pull up some of my notes here just so we can get a chance to see what we're really dealing with in this whole thing. It's fascinating to me that we have these fears that come in to us and on us and around us, and they're really what I call false evidence appearing real. I know you've probably heard that before. False evidence appearing real. But so let me just kind of set the whole stage for you. One of the things I share within the book is this quote when I was in the fraternity, when I'm in the fraternity, Omega Psi Phi fraternity, about excuses. And excuses are monuments of nothingness. They build bridges to nowhere, and people who use these tools of incompetence are masters of nothing. And it gets us into how we should factually, push us forward. That's why I interpret it, because I think the eradication of fear is actually inputted by facts. And we can begin to tell ourselves a different story. Kat Coppin and I were actually talking yesterday on our podcast, which is really an online platform, about how we need to put facts back into the equation to help us tell a different story. We were talking about those stories yesterday. So the first thing is, I really cherish my military time. I got in for 2 reasons. The first was because I wanted to continue to run track and field to try to make the Olympic team. And the Army has a world-class athlete program. And I wanted to make this program and continue my track and field career, try to make the Olympic team. Second was Alice and I were about to have a baby, and I didn't have any money. So the Army became our surrogate to have John Jr. And this whole new world opened to us because we did this. So there was always a goal, but when I got in, I loved it. I really enjoyed the military. I wanted to become a lifer. Also wanted to become an officer. I was enlisted at the time. So I took the officer selection battery, scored 90 out of 100, and was kept that in my back pocket because I had scored so well on the test. Or it was like something like that. It was like, I don't know if it was out of 120 or whatever, but I scored pretty high on it. And I just really enjoyed my military career. It offered a way for me to continue my dreams to move forward, and I just like being around the people. I got selected for Operation Desert Shield pretty awkwardly. There was a PLDC class, primary leadership development course that I was going through. And this is all in the book too. I explain it in the book. I was going through PLDC, primary leadership development course. It's the first non-commissioned officer course, so I could make the rank of sergeant and keep on, elevating in my rank. And 2 weeks into the class, there was a drill that we did. It was an exercise. And the exercise was, if you ever got deployed, these are the things that you need to be aware of. These are the things you need to do to prepare. So one was take care of your family. Another one was to do your dental plan. Another one was to do your financial plan. Another one was to go to the JAG and do your power of attorney, your will, just in case you didn't come home. So I did the exercise, thought I did pretty well on it. Everybody goes back into the classroom, but the drill sergeant holds me back and says to me, for everybody that went to the classroom, John, or specials register, that drill for them was an exercise. For you, this exercise was real. You have been assigned to a unit in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, to go to Operation Desert Shield at that time. And I was like, what? This whole cloud just went over me. And I wasn't fearful at that time, but I was bewildered. I was supposed to go to officer candidate school. I'm supposed to go to the world-class athlete program. I was a loss to the unit. All these things made me like non-deployable. So I was bewildered. How did I get pushed over into this area? How did I get selected for officer candidate school when I was in school? That meant I was non-deployable. I should have been allowed to finish school. Number two, I was working a job on the military installation that was designed for two E4s, two specialists, and we had excess of an E5 and an E6 actually. So then, how were they not the excess? Well, I wasn't there. Short straw, couldn't speak up for myself. So that was number two. And third, I was leaving Fort Sill to go to Presidio, San Francisco to take my family to do the world-class athlete program. So I was on short order. So I should have been the person that was the most non-deployable of all the people that were there. My buddy and I, during kind of right before lunch, when I was going to clean my locker out, he comes with me and he's kind of trying to cheer me up a little bit. And he says, so when you get back, what do you, that's when you can kind of do these other things. And then I said out of my mouth, yeah, if I come back. And when I spoke those words, if I come back, I felt a fear just overtake me. It was it was like a sweeping spirit just washed over me. And I was almost terrified, shaking. Alice, she would come up to the school and we would have lunch, my wife and my son, John Jr. So they would come to the school during lunchtime. We would have lunch, and that would be the time I could see them during the day. It was an open campus for PLDC. So that was great. So I could at least spend that 50 minutes with them as they got with Popeye's chicken or something. And when I saw her, I couldn't even open my mouth. And she knew something immediately was wrong. She didn't know what was wrong, but I couldn't get it out. I just could not get it out because I was sobbing that hard. I couldn't catch breath. And then when I finally was able to calm down and get it out, we just sat there and just cried together. Have you ever been to a time when you just couldn't, you were so fearful, you couldn't get a breath out? You couldn't even speak because the fear had washed over you. I know a lot of people are in that situation right now with we got an election coming up that people are so fearful about. We have isolation from work. We have anxiety in work. We have stress in work right now. The reason I think that that's going on, I won't get into it here. Some of the leadership stuff I talk about, but There is a way, I believe, out of this, and I certainly didn't know it at the time. So I had to really think about this from that standpoint point of the realization of this moment, um, that encapsulating the fear and uncertainty about the future, I pondered, I wondered the possibility of never returning home. That was a like a gripping thing for me. What would be the impact on my family, the support around me, all these things. And so in a daze, I remember the drill I did with the PLDC class, the exercise of going around to the dental, checking the dental records, doing through my financials, um, ensuring Alice had power of attorney to do what she needed to get done, a living will that was done just in case I did not come back. And all these things were in my head. And Alice took me to the airport. And when I got to the airport to go to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, to be with 6th to the 27th Field Artillery as one of their communications guys, yeah, I was just bewildered. But on the plane ride, I looked out the window, just kind of dazed. And I heard a voice, I believe it was God's voice, to speak to me and said, you had a prayer that you did 2 years ago that said you wanted to see your fruit. Well, I'm taking you to Desert Storm, then later, to see your fruit. You're going to come back and still run track. And it was like I can't even explain it. It was like the most calming, reassuring voice that was in my head, clear as a bell. I mean, I could hear the words, and it just arrested every one of the fears. And to me, that voice was factual. I don't know if you ever had an experience like that where you just knew something to be true. You just knew it to be true. And that was fact to me. So when I heard that voice, that fact come, my fear immediately went away. So I won't get into Desert Storm and coming back and everything. So obviously I came back, and obviously I went to Presidio, San Francisco, to the World Class Athlete Program. I didn't get to Officer Candidate School because I had an injury to my leg. Another story. But I realized that whenever we have facts before us, I mean, obviously true facts, not the facts that we make up, not the facts that we tell our own story, not our own echo chambers, but the facts of the matter. It eradicates the fear, takes fear away. I tell a lot of my business partners, right? Not partners, my businesses I speak to. I'm speaking a lot in the technology area. I'm not a techie. I'm not a technology person, but there's a lot of anxiousness around technology, AI, a lot of anxiousness around that. How do we get ahead of it? We're not. How do we, especially when we get to AGI and it starts learning from itself, right? We have all these things that we put into it. But there's some facts around it that we can talk about. And that's what I share with, some of my technology folks to help us understand it better, even though it's their job to really understand it more than my job. I'm sharing it with, a fear for another major company that's coming up that I'm going to be talking to coming up here later on this month. That the fear around some of the things that we have can be eradicated by the facts that we can bring into it. Heard Michael Dominguez talk at MIC meetings, industry council meeting last week. Brilliant, just absolutely brilliant guy. And he's in the kind of luxury hotel market space and was, really bringing some things to the forefront of the facts that we have. One of the things that we get, and I think I said it earlier in this program, is we had a lot of people talking about the fear of their echo chamber. So he listed out like all the news sources that are on the left and all the news sources on the right. And then he put the ones right down the middle of have a balanced reporting. And if we listen only to the left or the right, we get into our own echo chambers and we think that that's the truth when we have to expand the way we think about things. because we can be, when we know we're in fear when we start blaming people for our lot in life. That's when we know we're in fear. So don't be in fear like that. Why? How? If you're saying that, then you're already there, is what I'm saying. So we have to look at the facts, the real facts, not our echo chamber facts. How do we know if we get out of our echo chamber? Read the other side for a moment and see just how much that irks you or takes you away from who you are. Because as this political season is coming into town, and with AI, and it's going to be harder and harder to dissect the facts. So you got to get your news sources and facts right now, and then sometimes just turn the stuff off. Don't elevate those fears. So I have some action steps for us this week. The action steps come from, again, inside the book, and wanted to share just a few with them. One is to write the life experience that you were thinking about as you read the story, right? So that's one. Or a fear that you have that's with you. Has there been a time in your life when the fear gripped you so much that it paralyzed you from acting? Write that down. So number one, again, has there been a time in your life when the fear gripped you so much that it paralyzed you from acting, or put you in a daze like it put me in a daze? Number two, how might you recognize fear in others? By doing so, how can you help them in their situation? And then three, what is your strategy for becoming unstuck when you believe the worst will happen? What's your strategy? How do you overcome it? How do you overcome the fear or act despite it being there? And I gave you mine. I put data and facts into it that sometimes take me to where the data goes. So I try not to manipulate the data to my favor, but just put it there. So that's the 10 power stories for impacting leaders today. Journey your way to leadership success. We can overcome the fears that we have in our lives, and that's what I think is the most important thing. So I hope that you enjoyed that today. That was, it's good for me to kind of go back through that story again. I am a professional speaker, and if you want to book me, you can just go to johnregister.com. There's a booking page there, and the team will get with you. We talk about how to hurdle adversity by amputating fear, embracing a new normal mindset to win the medals that are in our lives. That's what we do. And then the next chapter we're going to be talking about is the most important business question. This was given to me by a woman named Pat Enriquez during the Veterans Entrepreneurship class, to which I won this. This is one of my favorite things right here. It is the Spencer C. Duncan Making It Count for Veterans Entrepreneurship Scholarship Award, Veterans Entrepreneurship Program, Oklahoma State University, 2015. And I love this. This is beautiful. I keep it with me to remind me of when I decided I was going to become an entrepreneur and went through this class. It was really great. So the most important business question, and then that will do it for us. We always say here, go forth, inspire your world. Go is your command. Forth is your direction. Inspire is your vocation. World, because only you can do this in your sphere of influence. Go forth, inspire your world, and we will talk to you again next week, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, on the author's viewpoint from 10 Power Stories to Impact Any Leader. Journey your way to leadership success. Bye for now.